Welcome to the London Outlook for February the 13th, which is a Tuesday. Starting off with the economic calendar, we have a whole bunch of red folder news. Essentially, for the GBP session at Frankfurt Open, we've got claimant count change, which is unemployment related and will dictate the direction that we will trade in for the remainder of the London session. However, I would advise that you close any open positions at the London lull prior to CPI news release, as this is often highly volatile and not worth having any trade positions open or have any of them triggered as a result of this news release because spreads widen quite a bit. Having said all of that, we will wait for GBP news to suggest which direction the market or the London session is likely to head into for the London session. So having said that, let's move on to the chart. Starting off with the 4 hour, we know that the bearish trend has been confirmed as we had the initial change of character and then the break of structure right here. So we are in a confirmed bearish trend with the pro trend move being shorting. However, in terms of unpacking the order flow on the 4 hour, what we can see is that the pro trend pullback phase was validated last week when we body broke this level. And then at the same time, we also had a pro-trend primary leg 4HOB develop right here as a result of body breaking this pullback phase chalk OB situated right here. So as a result of that, there's reasons to both long and short, with the pullback phase ultimate objective always being to reach the pro-trend extreme, which is situated in and around this area right here. We do have this large window of imbalance to also take into account, situated right here. However, the candle that put in the highest high is this largely bearish candle, so we shouldn't ignore that. Um, and then yeah, I guess coming into the session, what we do know is we can trade in both directions, and it's simply about understanding the mid-time frame legs to decipher which direction is in control right now. So let's move on to the 15-minute where we can unpack this. What I did want to highlight is that yesterday we actually body broke above this level on the 15-minute, which at the time we had a secondary leg created as a result of this reaction. So perhaps I can just quickly add this on to demonstrate. So I had the secondary leg indicated right here. However, during Frankfurt, we actually body broke, and as a result, the pullback phase secondary leg, this green one, evolved into extending the pullback phase primary leg. And as a result of that, what that means is that any unmitigated 15, 5, or 30-minute levels can then be used to validate new pullback phase secondary legs. From a pro trend perspective, we did wick this area, this being the last highest interaction point of this 4HOB, so that created this pro trend secondary leg. However, as you can see, based on the latest information, we had a reaction to an unmitigated M15 4HOB, and then we had this change of character right here, and that as a result created this pullback phase secondary leg. However, the secondary leg is essentially stuck in one session, and in order to continue trading longs, we will need to validate the um, we need to validate that the Asia low of the day will hold, and until we have that validation, we can't really do much. Asia low of the day to be validated. But yeah, I think what can validate either the pre-Asia high of the day or the low of the day is the claimant count. So if the claimant count is positive for the GBPUSD, we can essentially trade it within the Asia range because we can assume that the low of the day will hold, and thus we can trade based on one of these POIs right here. And then alternatively, if the GBP news is negative, then we can assume that the pre-Asia high of the day will hold and then trade based on that direction. However, based on the latest information, for the legs, we understand that the pullback phase secondary leg is still at play. So in order to short, we'll need this pro-trend secondary leg to be extended first, and then the Asia high of the day to be validated before we can take any short positions. So at 9 a.m. we should monitor the news release quite closely. Again, the thing with these types of news releases, they often cause a big wick, and they'll take out one side of the Asia range. So we'll have some indication of either the news release putting in a new higher low of the day or validating one. Oftentimes it's putting a new higher low of the day given the timing, and then we'll simply just play the move towards the intended or suggested direction by the GU news until the London lull, at which point we'll close any open positions, and then we'd wait for CPI news to be released and then trade accordingly. My guess is that CPI will actually get us out of this somewhat range we've been in lately and will actually either take us to the upside or the downside, depending on the news release. So, having said that, just to quickly summarize my London outlook, we can trade both directions. The key is to focus on the latest leg, since the latest secondary leg is the pullback phase secondary leg. We primarily focus on longs, but we understand that shorts can be validated quite quickly once the pro-trend secondary leg is extended right here. The key focus point is at 9 a.m. when the unemployment rate or unemployment GBP news comes out. That's the claimant count change that you're seeing right here, and once that's released, then we'll have direction for the day. Obviously, if we body break this 4H POI right here, that essentially invalidates any shorting, and from that point onwards, there'll only be reason to long. Other than that, have a good London session, and we'll chat again for the New York outlook.